Welcome to the Navigator Podcast.
Welcome to the Navigator. My name's Brad Malone, and with me is Brad Dempsey, CEO of Solutions 360.
Hey, Bradley, how are you?
I'm well. So, we both work with a lot of systems integration companies, and oftentimes we're talking to the execs. And yet I often see a big gap between the execs in the office or the salespeople and then the techs out in the field who, to me, are really making things happen. How important to you do you think techs are to the brand of a company?
Well, I think they're critical. They are the face of the company at the customer site. They're interacting with the people who are actually going to be using your products in most cases. In some cases, it's a lot of your customers' first touch with people from your company. So it's absolutely critical.
I believe so too. And I see so many times how it's both an internal and an external. If the company itself believes that their techs are their brand and, let's have the right uniform that's clean, let's present ourselves professionally. But if the company has pride in their techs, the techs have pride in themselves. And I think that just exudes from who they are and what they do versus the opposite, where you see somebody who's like, I don't know whether I want that person even in my building, let alone working on my install. As an owner, how do you kind of create that atmosphere? Because you've got business analysts and a whole lot of people who touch people. What's your message to them?
Well, I think our first message is that we're a team and we have their backs. So I think one of the most important things is you don't want people out in the field feeling like they're isolated or like they've got the weight of the world on their shoulders, because that's a kind of stress, I think, that can make people do things that might be a little bit out of character. Secondly, like you said, it's talking about culture and values on a frequent basis and making sure that the people you hire and the people you work with on a regular basis are all singing the same song. We all understand what those values are, because it's those values that really come across to our customers.
Well, exactly. And I find that oftentimes we measure, what you measure is kind of what you get, or what you measure is what establishes the culture. And too many times I see us measuring our techs on projects based on time or cost, either hurry up or get it under cost, versus do the best that you're going to do, make it meet the quality standard and make the company be proud. I think if that message was sent, I think it would help a lot of projects go better also, because when we hurry, time and cost wise, we often have to come back at the end, which also destroys a customer relationship.
So can I ask you something then?
Yeah, please.
Do you seek technology integration companies with good training programs or foundations that focus just on this?
Usually not at all. I think the best, and you and I can name some, but we won't. If people want us to tell them, they can call us. The best do. The best, it's interwoven in their vision, their mission, their values, their ethics, just their brand. And it's talked about, it's rewarded, and it's also called out if they're not acting that way. So again, what you measure is what you get. I think so many companies allow people to just do because they either don't feel comfortable talking about it, which to me is like, why would I not? It's part of your job to dress and act professionally. But I think that too many companies just don't address it as a norm. And I don't think they understand the impact of it.
What would you say is the most important factor? Is it training? Is it culture? Is it hiring the right people? Or is it just, you got to do all of those things to do this well?
You got to do all those things, but it starts with culture. And you and I've had many conversations on that. And I still have people kind of say, well, my culture is what it is. And I'm like, well, that's because you let it be that way. And then you hire people for culture. If they don't have the gleam in their eye that matches the gleam in yours, I don't care how smart they are. And I think that how people hire these days, especially coming out of COVID, people are looking at things differently coming back to work. Those people who were either laid off or kind of external to work and not going directly to, they're like looking at, I think it's about culture more than just having a job. So I think it's key to to do that, but it's also the training, and then it's also recognizing. I think we've gotten so far away from recognizing anything, like good or not good, that people just kind of fall into the lowest common denominator. So it's a neat opportunity to really, I find, invigorate your company, and also allow your text to basically say, you are our brand. How best can we serve you out there serving our customers? So I think inviting people in to really understand the impact they make.
Right.
That's key.
And of course, I think it's also important to empower them with the right tools and the right information, and come across as an organized company that knows what they're doing.
Exactly. And as you said earlier, I apologize. As you said earlier, it's about having their back. Right. And I think the most mature companies understand that without the labor in the field, their company isn't anything. And those companies that don't still are product-based or sales-based, and they see their labor as a necessary evil, and it just exudes that way all throughout their company. So yeah, thanks for sharing your thoughts on this. It's a neat topic that I find is going to be essential as we come back to work, and we're coming back to work.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's something we don't talk about enough. So it was very, very nice to talk about it today.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.